Welcome in episode number 56 of the St0ner Sports Radio Podcast. Coming at you right now. We are going to talk about the NFL playoffs, get you updated as we head into Conference Championship Weekend. Disaster strikes in Jerry World. Zach will give us his thoughts and what he expects from next year's Dallas teams. Alabama hires Kyle DeBoer and Jim Harbaugh out to the LA Chargers to jump into the NFL Oklahoma City Thunder update as well. And we'll give you our predictions of who is going to the Super Bowl here on the St0ner Sports Radio Podcast. Zach, how are we doing on this Be Happy Friday?
Doing good. We're doing good. The Thunder are playing right now, and I forgot about that. But we're happy because the Thunder are doing good, and that's about the only thing I can be happy about anymore, right?
For you particularly, yeah, probably right now at least. I mean, that's what you got to hang your hat on, right? I mean, that's kind of your last horse that's in a race worth running.
Yeah, I'm kind of donezo here when you think about it.
Well, and your Sooners basketball team's not looking terrible. Bad loss to Texas, but that doesn't really mean the end of the world when it comes to college basketball.
It kind of does.
I mean, I'm saying losing in general, not that game in particular. That was a real bad game, but that is neither here nor there. Let's get into just what everyone's itching for us to get into, which is the NFL playoffs. Let's start off with Wildcard Weekend, right? Things didn't go as planned for me, obviously, with my Browns getting absolutely boat raced by the Texans. You were right on that. I'll give you your flowers. Good call on Joe Flacco turning back into a pumpkin. It was fun while it lasted. His Linsanity run is over. Give me your thoughts on that game in particular and how you viewed the dominance that the Texans showed at home.
I think it had everything to do with C.J. Stroud. And D'Amico Ryan, I want to point out that the defense looked really good over there in Houston. But I think the offense, the only difference that's really been made is C.J. Stroud. He's just been so poised. He looks like a 6-7 year vet out there. I mean, he threw for, 350 in this playoff game. I mean, you got to hand it to the kid, man. He's gonna go places in this league, and I think he proved it when he, knocked Joe Flacco's old washed ass out of the playoffs.
Yeah, I mean, I can't really disagree with anything you said. I think that's pretty right on the money. Speaking of something that was also right on the money, both of us kind of saw this one coming. The Chiefs beat the Dolphins 26-7. I don't know about if I saw it being this low scoring and or lopsided, but we did both think that the Chiefs were going to take this away from Tua and the Finns as they had to battle in that extreme weather. I mean, this had everything to do with just how bad Tua plays in cold weather, right? I mean, this is not really anything you can really blame on the Miami defense. I think this was more of just the ineptitude of Tyreek Hill in the cold, Isaiah Pacheco dominating in the cold for the Chiefs, and Tua struggling. Your thoughts on this game?
I thought it had a lot to do with the weather for sure. I don't know if it affected Tyreek Hill as much. I remember he played in Kansas City. He's played in colder weather, not that cold, I guess, because that was record temperatures in Kansas City. I think it was the fourth coldest game in NFL history. So that's insane. I mean, I think it's tough for anybody to play in that, but I think we saw experience kind of come through. I mean, you have Patrick Mahomes. I don't want to say versus Tua because quarterbacks don't play each other, but when it comes down to who's going to get the job done, and when it comes down to in pressure situations, making risky decisions and making them well, Patrick Mahomes is going to come out on top every time. And I think we saw that. I don't think Tua played particularly well. I mean, he wasn't terrible. The O-line was pretty terrible, I think, for the Dolphins the entire game. And I think the Chiefs' defense kind of showed their experience. And this defense might just carry them to the Super Bowl because I don't think the Chiefs' offense is doing as hot as the media would like you to believe right now.
Yeah, I think you bring up some good points. I think the one thing to kind of harp on and kind of second is the fact that the offensive line played really bad for Miami. I mean, no running game whatsoever and couldn't protect Tua worth a damn. And you're probably right about Tyreek, but I think this particular game, like you said, is different than any other weather he experienced while he was in Kansas City. That's why I bring it up. But I mean, credit to the defense of the Chiefs, like you said, locking him down and locking this offense down in general for the Dolphins. They just had no life whatsoever offensively, and I think that was really due to the fact they were so one dimensional with the run game being just absolutely atrocious, and the defensive line for the Chiefs playing fantastic and right on schedule. Right, this is exactly kind of the time where they need to step up because they've had some injuries and guys are finally healthy up there. So they're looking good. I think you're right. I think this team is poised to make another appearance in the Super Bowl. We'll kind of touch on that here in a minute. But that game in particular, kind of like you said, strengthened that prowess of experience in the postseason from a majority of that crew. Um, Moving on to the Rams Lions game. This one was really tight. 24-23 Lions get the win. The Rams turn it over late. It was exciting. It was probably one of the most exciting games of the wild card weekend. What was kind of your takeaway from the Lions finally getting a win in 32 years in the postseason and having it happen with Stafford coming back into Ford Field and really kind of, kind of maybe striking a little bit of a nerve, but probably not a big one. But like he couldn't get it done, but Goff could.
Mhm. Yeah, no, I think so. I think one, Matt Stafford. I think he got booed at some point during the game. I don't remember when,
When it started,
which
like
is
the
pretty.
beginning, yeah, the very beginning.
That's pretty funny. But he was being kind of a bitch about it, honestly, in the post game. And I'm kind of glad that they lost because the Rams are fraudulent. I think everybody knows that. And Sean McVay has got a foot in ESPN or Fox or something already. But I think that the Lions are showing throughout this entire playoffs that, I mean, they're a team built on resilience. They're a team that's gonna, be able to not be afraid to go for it on fourth down. They're not afraid when they're playing defense on third downs. They're not afraid to rush eight. I mean, it's the Lions playing different football, and it has everything to do with MCDC there.
Yeah, I kind of agree with that. I think we're kind of on the same page as far as kind of how we feel about the Lions and what they bring to the table. And just, props to Gambling Dan Campbell out there doing his thing and making it work. Speaking of making it work, the Bills made light work of the Steelers because even though Mason Rudolph led the whole game in passing, it was not enough in the driving rain in Buffalo to get the win. They lose by 14, 31-17. This game was not close at halftime, Zach, but eventually it got within a one-score game, and it took the Bills punching in a late touchdown to make this score look a lot further apart than it was. Um, anything to really note from this game?
I think that was a lot. The Steelers were in that game because of Tomlin. I think everybody knows that. And the thing is, Tomlin's probably going to not be the Steelers coach in 2 years, which is what I mean. That's what a lot of media has been saying is that they're going to eventually move on from Mike Tomlin if he doesn't start winning some more playoff games. But I mean, what can you do? You have Mason Rudolph starting. You have a mid offense, mid to above average defense. I mean, what do you expect? Now, I thought that the Bills are doing exactly what they're supposed to. I mean, they should have beat the Steelers by 3 touchdowns, but they were playing well towards the end of the season. They, I don't know how many games they won in a row at the end. It was like
Eight?
4 or 5.
Oh, four. Yeah, you're right because they had that one loss. Yeah, I think it was like five, 4 or 5. Yeah.
Yeah, just an insane end to the season. And, they made their way deeper into the playoffs.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I think that pretty much sums it up. I mean, George Pickens is mid. I'll say it. George Pickens is mid.
Yeah.
He doesn't show up in big games, and I think that really stinks for a guy like Mason Rudolph who really needs
Yeah.
a consistent target to be his security blanket. And I think guys like Fryermuth, he's probably one of those guys. Um, but I think like you said, I mean the Bills should have won this game by more, but it's the Bills. They're gonna make it close for no reason. They're gonna do some things that make you go, and that was kind of the notion you got when it was 24-17. You're like, whoa, is this gonna happen? And then Mason Rudolph throws that pick, and it's like, oh no, it's not gonna happen. Like this is just meant for the Bills to do what they're supposed to do. But guess who
Yeah,
didn't do what they were supposed to do? But what we thought would happen happened. But uh,
exactly what I knew was
um,
going to happen.
um, the Buccaneers just destroyed the Eagles. I mean that. I mean that. I didn't see a destroying the Eagles scenario here. We both picked the Buccaneers to win this game. We were riding the Baker Mayfield high, and we got even higher after that win against the Eagles. And I know you were happy to see the Birds go down, especially in the fashion they did. Um, but what was kind of your takeaway from how the Buccaneers got past a Super Bowl contending team that because of this has now lost 6 games in a row?
I think Tampa Baker is insane. He played insane. He's throwing for like over 300, 350 yards his last like few games, and it was fucking amazing to watch because he just silenced every single person in the media that said he's not good enough to be a starting quarterback in the NFL. I think he cemented the fact that he's getting his extension with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, and he'll be the starting franchise quarterback there for many years to come because he's proven you can win a playoff game with him. If you have the right guys around him, he doesn't even have that good of weapons around him. He has Mike Evans, who is like, he's 1,000 yard receiver every season. When I say 1,000 yards, I mean like 1,005 yards
Yeah,
every season. And he's old and he's getting washed. Chris Godwin, he's getting older. He needs more weapons. The defense is okay, but like Baker won a playoff game with a 9-8 roster, and he beat the Philadelphia Eagles, which I think is something that a lot more people need to be talking about, despite what happened the weekend after.
yeah. I think. I mean, like you said, I think this cements him as someone who deserves a starting job. Now, what stinks for him is that once again he's going to have a new OC next year. This will be 7 years in a row with having a
Yeah,
new OC as Zach Robinson
but
is now hired away, which I thought was hilarious. That one of the best Oklahoma State quarterbacks in the last 20 years is the OC for one of the best OU quarterbacks in the last 5 or 6 years. I mean, I
yeah,
think I think that's one of those things where both OU and OSU fans can be happy in the fact that there's some coalescing going on there with two good quarterbacks, and you can make it work no matter really the college background, and then you team up with an
yeah.
OU quarterback. I mean, I know Zach Robinson was probably happy about that, but I know Baker as well wants those bragging rights. You know his attitude and how much he likes to be the guy, and I think that overall the Buccaneers set themselves up momentum wise for a really good showing in the divisional round. Now,
And hold
now,
on, I do want to say something about Baker with the new OC. He's been
mm,
able to learn new offenses with no problem
yeah,
whatsoever. So I think as long as the Buccaneers defense can stay solid as it is, then the new OC coming in, if anything, might bring a spark to the offense that wasn't there before. I could see the Buccaneers winning 11 games next year.
yeah,
Um,
it could very well happen.
and when you think about Baker, even in situations like when he was with the Rams, brand new offense thrown in there, signed to like whatever, like 5 months with the Rams, throws for like 5 tutties. I mean, that's the kind of thing that Baker does.
Yeah,
He wins football games, and I'm so glad that he got out of places like Cleveland that weren't able to show his talent.
ugh, Carolina. Um,
And Carolina, oh
yeah.
my God, Carolina.
I mean, because I don't think the Rams would have been a terrible situation, and the Bucks obviously are not a terrible situation. I think they're kind of on the same level where I don't. I mean, I still think he's probably a better quarterback than Matthew Stafford. I mean, am I crazy saying that? I mean, I know that a lot of people put weight on the fact of how he performed in places like Carolina and Cleveland, but if he had been in LA this whole entire time instead of Matthew Stafford, I don't think the Rams would have been in considerably different waters. You know what I'm saying? So I feel like that wouldn't have been a terrible spot for him to have stayed if he had. But I think, like you said, you're underestimating the value of him being able to learn a new offense for 7 years in a row. I don't know a lot of guys that can do that, and I think that's super impressive. And I think more people need to be mindful of his mind and just how,
Uh,
and maybe the offenses are simple, but still, 7 different things is 7 different things.
Yeah, and I think that's important for people to realize that that's probably going to be the norm going forward in the NFL. You see that new OCs are getting picked up or fired every single season. They're either getting head coach jobs somewhere else or they're getting fired because they're not as good as an OC as they're supposed to be. I think it's. I saw a stat somewhere that said that every single team in the NFL since like 2013 has not had the same offensive coordinator for like more than one season.
Yeah, that's
It's
nuts. That's
insane.
nuts. Yeah, that's nuts. Speaking of nuts, you wanted to chop yours off after this game as the Cowboys get defeated by the Packers 48-32. This game was not close at all. At one point, it was 48-16 when the second stringers came in for the Green Bay Packers. I'm just going to let you have this and just do whatever you want with it because I have no words for what happened down in Jerry World.
Do you think I have words for what happened in Jerry World?
I know you
I
have
have nothing.
thoughts.
I have nothing but disgust. I have nothing but ill thoughts. I have nothing but violent thoughts in my head for what I want to do to Jerry Jones. I'm serious. Someone needs to assassinate him at this point. I can't. I can't stand Jerry Jones. Like we're never going to win a football game again, or a meaningful football game again with Jerry Jones still around. As long as he has any sort of control, I'm serious about like eliminating his entire family bloodline at this point because the Jones family has ruined everything I love about the Cowboys. And the problem is that we're never going to escape it. I could see the Cowboys having like a 60, 70-year drought, no Super Bowl. I just see us having a 60, 70-year drought, never going past the divisional round. I've been alive for, a couple decades now. Never seen the Cowboys win a divisional round playoff game. I've never seen them do anything that made me think for a second they could go to the Super Bowl. Um, we've had some of the most talented rosters like we did this year. One of the most talented rosters, probably on paper, the best offense and defense balanced. And we get to the playoffs as the second seed in the NFC. And we become the first second seed to lose in the divisional round.
Oh, it's so
To
perfect.
the Green Bay Packers,
Ugh.
no less,
Ugh.
who I hate the Packers because one, the only time I could have won a divisional round playoff game, Dez apparently didn't catch it against the Packers. Um, and I just don't like them. Every time that I see the cheese, I just get angry. But yeah, at this point, like I don't blame the coaches. I mean, Mike McCarthy should be fired. He's not. In fact,
Extension.
Jerry Jones said he's going to stay extension. Which fuck. What do we even do with that? What can I as a fan do with that? I guess I don't know. I'm gonna root for a different team next year. I mean, I'm still a Cowboys fan. I'm loyal. I'm true. But maybe I'm just gonna have to find another team to root for just to have a little fun. Because the Cowboys are never gonna win as long as Jerry Jones is around. We could have had Bill Belichick. We're not gonna get Bill Belichick because of that. Maybe next year, since nobody else seems to want to pick him up. Um, but God, we're wasting so much talent.
Yeah, for me personally, since I don't really have a dog in this like you do, for me, the takeaway was for some reason Dak and CD were not on the same page for the first time all season. I don't know what the fuck was going on. I mean, words being said, passes being errant, routes being ran. Like, why was that happening when it hasn't happened all season? I mean, that was weird to me. Like from the outside looking in, I was like, that's not good. And
Yeah,
then
something weird was going on
yeah,
there. I don't know what was going on with CD. CD's body language was off.
terrible. And then Dan Quinn decides to run zone for the first time all year and just gets cooked.
Yeah,
Gets cooked. I mean, I'm sorry. I could throw against zone. I mean, you're literally sagging 7 yards off of dudes. They're just running button hooks and catching it, and you're just not tackling. And there he goes for 40 yards. You got guys wide open because these dudes were so used to playing man, they didn't know where their zones fucking were. It was absolutely atrocious to watch. And on the other side of things, Jordan Love looked fantastic. I mean,
Yeah,
he looked like
he did.
they found another one. I mean, that's how he
It
looked.
pisses me off,
I mean,
man, because now we're never gonna win an NFC
no,
playoff
no.
game
Hey,
against them
look,
again.
look. I'm a realist. I think this was a flash in the pan thing. He's been building up to this, but I don't think that's who Jordan Love is. I just think it was the fact that they were playing zone. I think his zone just makes it so much easier, and it gives you so much more space to work with than manning up against these receivers. And I think that the speed of the receiving core from the Packers scared Dan Quinn. It had to have been that. There's no other explanation why Deron Bland is playing like trash. There's no other explanation why guys are being left wide open in coverage. And I think that he'll come back to that point where you're going, should they stay with Jordan Love? I don't think he's going to be terrible, but I don't think he's going to be Aaron Rodgers good. I don't think he's Brett Favre good. I think he had a really good game. And I think a lot of people think that that's going to cement him as, the starter, which it should for now. But we'll see what happens next season. If it continues, then I'll change my opinion. But for right now, I just think he had a really good game against a really terrible game plan, and it made him look like the next coming of one of these guys. But I think that he's not there yet. I think he's just
Yep.
still a tier or two below, and I think he's growing. I think he's learning, but I don't think he's there yet. So I mean, my takeaway from this was the Packers looked very impressive, but I think it was just a terrible game plan by Dan Quinn. Terrible play by Dak. The pick six broke your back. That was it. 27-0. Turn the TV off. It's over. Like it's over. At 20-0, you might have had a chance. At halftime, and it was 27-7. I was like, still only a 3 possession game, and you could obviously think that there's a possibility. But here they come again down the field, scoring with Aaron Jones again. I mean, it just it was just ridiculous what Dan Quinn was doing, and I think he's really the reason that you guys are didn't have a chance defensively to stop the Packers.
I would also say like I wouldn't want to get rid of Dan Quinn yet because I still think he's a good DC, but I mean, fuck, that was probably the worst game I've ever watched as a Cowboys fan, given the context of everything. Like that might have been the worst game I've ever seen.
Yeah, it was bad. There was nothing good to take away from it.
I
I
mean,
mean,
that first half, I've never been so sure of of hopelessness in my life.
yeah.
Like that's how hopeless I was certain that there was no hope.
yeah, it was draining. It was emotionally draining for sure. Um, so let's move on to the divisional round, right? So we had our team set up here, and we get to see the top seeds for the first time this week. So the Ravens just absolutely demolish the Texans. C.J. Stroud only throws for 175 yards, no touchdowns, no interceptions, but just nothing happening offensively for the Texans all game long. And we know the Ravens have the best defense statistically by the numbers. I mean, is this Ravens defense like legit, or is it one of those things where it's like the Texans just turned into youngsters that had their shine and then had to travel on the road into a tough environment and just couldn't do it?
Ravens defense is legit. The Texans were also inexperienced and weren't ready for that environment. I don't think. Um, Texans are going to win a Super Bowl with CJ Stroud. Like I'll make that prediction right now. That's happening.
I
Hundred
can I
percent.
cannot disagree with that right now. From what I've seen from this guy, I'm
He's
with you.
still, he's gonna throw for 5,000 yards in one season. Like he's gonna do all of these things. He might break the passing yards record kind of a thing. Like he was throwing for almost 500 yards as a rookie. They're gonna win Super Bowls. They're young. They weren't ready for Baltimore. I mean, it's just that simple. And I think we're gonna have different picks when we get to the AFC Championship here, but um, I think the Ravens defense is the best defense in the NFL. So I
Yeah,
don't
I
that typically to me equals a Super Bowl.
I mean the numbers add up to that. They are the best. I think
Mm-hmm.
statistically they are the best. Yeah, I think C.J. Stroud will win a Super Bowl. I don't know if it'll be with the Texans, but he'll win a Super Bowl. I mean,
I
I
think it
don't.
will be.
I mean, it should be with the Texans. Is what I'm saying. I just don't know if it.
Yeah.
They need if he needs this, he needs to stay healthy. They need to build that offense. The offensive line is fantastic. It gave him so much time to throw during the season. I think that really helped him. If you put him with Carolina's offensive line, I think he probably looks as bad as Bryce Young. Probably. I mean, because he's not
Yeah.
super mobile. I mean, like, I mean, I I I think that that really helped him out having an offensive line that was really good, and I think that the Ravens' defensive line just really OP and really pushed him around, and I think that was really rough uh, for him to try to work through those rough waters of 300-pound guys laying on top of him for most of that game. So yeah, I mean props to the Ravens, but I think the Texans are a 13-14 win team next year. I don't see how they can't be, especially if they improve in the draft and people stay healthy. I think they've got a real good shot at making another run next year, and they are so fun to watch, and I think they're going to continue to be fun to watch in the future.
They weren't all the way healthy either. We got to
No,
remember that they didn't have Tank Dell.
no,
And I think I also want to point out that the Texans, since existing as a franchise, have more playoff wins than the Cowboys. Um, it doesn't get any worse than this, folks. I don't know what else to tell you.
yeah, that's a feels bad man moment for real. And what else was a feels bad moment was the Packers had a chance to beat the 49ers, but Jordan Love throws across his body into triple coverage. It is picked
Of
off.
course, it does.
And
The Packers and 49ers. It happens every time.
yeah, so it's a 24-21 victory for the 49ers. What was your takeaway from this one? This was a very fun game to watch, and I just hated how it ended because it just was such a dumb decision.
Yeah, you couldn't help but root for the Packers, right? I mean, I felt bad rooting for the Packers since they had just beaten my Cowboys, but it was like, I mean, shit, I don't, I don't want the Niners to win. I don't want to see that happen. But yeah, Jordan Love's inexperience is. You saw it there. Give it 5 years, maybe he makes better decisions in the end of that game. Um, I mean, give the credit to Shanahan. I mean, he's winning the big games. I think he has a probably the easiest chance to get to the Super Bowl here. Um, I don't I don't see him ever winning one of those things, but I think the Packers in this game against the 49ers, we saw Jordan Love show spots for potential, but then you see things like at the end where he's just desperate to try to like etch out a playoff win against the best, if probably the second best defense in the NFL after the Ravens, if not the best defense in the NFL, right? And he just throws a crossbody, uh, gets it picked off, bad decision, can't really recover from that in the end. Do you blame the coach? Do
No.
you blame LaFleur for the play call? Do you blame Jordan Love?
No, I blame Jordan Love for sure. I mean, you could have thrown that thing away. You only needed a field goal. You didn't need to force it down the field for a touchdown. That was the other thing. And you had two timeouts in your pocket. That was the other thing. It was like there was no need to like go to this point where it's like I have to throw this pass. It's not fourth down. There was like I think still like a minute something to go. Like I mean, it was not desperation time. That was the problem for me. I was like, you didn't need to throw that. Like you could have easily just been like, I'm eating this sucker out of bounds, or he could have taken off and ran out of bounds, for a loss of one or something. I mean, it didn't have to be that bad. I 100% blame Jordan Love for that decision. I mean, because even if the play call is, we're gonna throw it. Like I didn't have a problem with that. It's just you didn't have to like. There was no reason to force it like that. It was just so it was like what are you doing? Like I mean, like you were doing so good. You were doing so good, and then you just like had literally brainworms for like a millisecond. And we're like, I gotta force it into like I can squeeze it, brother. Like I believe like too much confidence
That
from
was
a
a Brett. That
youngster.
was a Brett Favre throw.
It literally was. They showed the side by side with them throwing the same pass. Him as a Viking against the Saints in that game that he didn't need to do it against, and then that one, it was literally the exact same play, exact same coverage, exact same result. Disappointment for the throwing quarterback, and an L to go with it. I mean, just I mean, but it was entertaining. It just was just oh, you could have had it. You could at least had OT, man. Like you were like 15 yards away from field goal range. Like what are you doing? Well, it is Carlson. Give me a break. You probably needed a touchdown to be honest to feel good about it.
Yeah.
I mean, but it's just it was rough, and he missed one earlier, and Carlson missed one earlier. It should have been tied anyways. Like I mean, there's plenty of things you can say about that particular game, but it was one of the funnest, uh, or sorry, more fun games that happened that Saturday. Moving on to Sunday, you had Buccaneers, sorry, Buccaneers and Lions, and that game came down to the last possession. Baker Mayfield throws a pick on his final drive and another pass that was just, I mean, what were you looking at, brother? And that's the criticisms that people put towards him is like, what are you doing, man? Like that's you've been playing so good, but I mean 349 yards, but the two ints really hurt the Buccaneers. What was your takeaway from the Lions getting their second victory in the playoffs this season?
Congratulate the city of Detroit. Second, I want to say fuck you, CJ Gardner Johnson. You don't know fucking shit about Baker Mayfield, and I hope you fucking get run over by a fucking truck. Fuck you, CJ Gardner Johnson, talking shit about my boy Baker Mayfield, saying that he talking all that shit after the game because Mike Evans tipped a pass up and CJ Gardner Johnson picked it off technically. Fuck CJ Gardner Johnson. Fuck him. Baker owned him that game. He owned him that entire game. The Buccaneers were owning him that entire game. I don't want to hear shit about anything else regarding that. Congrats
Fair.
to the city of Detroit though, because they deserve that playoff win.
Yeah.
You know.
They had a rough one.
But fuck CJ Gardner Johnson.
Yeah, and congratulations, Eminem. Good for you. Another dub for Eminem. Um, we love to see it. And let's get to another game that ended in a very, very stereotypical on-brand fashion. It was the Chiefs beating the Bills 27-24. Tyler Bass missing a 44-yard field goal to send that thing into overtime, but plenty of things added up to that moment happening, Zach. And what was kind of your takeaway from the Chiefs once again getting the better of Josh Allen and company?
Patrick Mahomes proved that he can win on the road. For some reason, people thought that wasn't going to happen. For some reason, even though he's probably possibly the best football player ever, when not yet, but possibly soon. People are talking about his 6 AFC championships in a row run, like they're talking about Brady's back to back, kind of thing. When it comes down to this whole Josh Allen, Patrick Mahomes rivalry, because that's ultimately what everyone thinks of when they're thinking Chiefs Bills, and Patrick Mahomes is beating the fuck out of Josh Allen right now. I personally say, in my opinion, that's not the best rivalry in the AFC. That's not the best quarterback rivalry in the AFC. Everybody knows Joe Burrow is the better quarterback than Josh Allen. So I would like more attention on that kind of rivalry than this Bills and Chiefs rivalry that people are trying to force down my throat because Josh Allen is America's sweetheart. Josh Allen, I think, played like garbage. And I think he makes terrible decisions as a quarterback. He has a really strong arm. He can throw 75 yards. He's proven that multiple times. He can get you to the playoffs. He can get you 11 wins. And they were playing really, really well towards the end of the season. But against the Chiefs here, he folded at home in weather that favored them against Patrick Mahomes once again. And did he have 2 interceptions?
I don't think he had 2. Let's see. Let's take a glance. He had none.
He didn't have one? I thought he had one of that
Nope.
game. Maybe I'm thinking of it.
None. He had.
Well, good for him there.
He had a fumble. But I think they recovered it.
That. I was thinking of the fact he only had 186 yards. Jesus Christ.
Oh, so bad. I mean, it was not good. And again, Stephon Diggs, where are you, dog? Like, I mean, 3 catches for 21 yards. Where are you at? Like, where are you at? I mean, I don't understand how a player like him can't get involved. It's just like George Pickens. Like when you need them the most, they disappear. And I don't understand how you can have that be your number one guy when he's never there when you need him. I just can't deal with that kind of shit. And
Uh,
I just don't I don't know.
Not to mention the Bills' defense kind of played like trash.
Oh, they played terrible. And the thing is I know the
Zero,
Chiefs are
zero
yeah,
stats.
zero
Not really
sacks.
any pressure on the quarterback. No turnovers. They couldn't get the ball.
I mean,
They couldn't get the ball away from them.
they got pressure, but he threw it away every single time or ran. Like it was like they got pressure. I just don't think that Patrick ever went down.
Brother, they got Damar Hamlin stats on here, man. You let Damar Hamlin get stats on you?
Yeah, he ran that fake punt and didn't get it.
Yeah, it was terrible.
That was such a bad call. On your side of the field, and this I got so lucky that McCole Hardman fumbled that thing out of the end zone. What an idiot! What an idiot McCole Hardman is. Like, quit letting this guy play football. Like, he needs to be part of the XFL. Get him out of here, man. Like, I mean, I mean, he better have a big game this weekend because I mean, I don't see the reason for putting the ball in the man's hands. I mean, you just can't do that stuff, and that's exactly the break that the Bills needed after a terrible decision. I mean, if they had scored that drive, that game would have been over. Zach, you get that thing would have been caked, and and
Yeah.
nobody would have shut up about how, you know, uh, freaking what's his face, you know, the redheaded stepchild Sean McDermott, calling a fake punt on your own side of the 50 on a 4th and 5. It wasn't even like a 4th and 1, like a 4th and 5, and you get like a yard and a half. Like, oh, just gross, just gross. I mean, I'm just glad to see the Bills go because they don't deserve it ever. I mean, it's just like they just don't.
Sean McDermott needs to rally around. So I think he needs to lean more into the Taliban thing.
Excuse
I
me.
think he needs to. I don't think,
Wait a minute. What's going on here?
you know what I'm talking about, right?
No.
Oh, you didn't hear about that?
No. Wait.
Okay, so Sean McDermott apparently, like in a team meeting like a couple of years
Oh,
ago,
okay,
one
yes.
time,
I
like
remember that.
referenced the Taliban and said that, or Al Qaeda was like
Yeah.
how well they organized
Yes.
9/11 and how
Yeah.
they work all work
Yeah.
together and how the team needs to be like
Yes.
that.
Okay. Yes. I
And I
remember
think he needs
this.
to lean a little bit more into that. And when it comes, what I mean, lean into like more Al Qaeda nine
Like
eleven
strapping a
Taliban
bomb to
thing.
Stephon Diggs' chest and being like, if you don't get 100 yards, I'm pressing the button.
No, I mean tampering. I
Oh.
need you to blow up the Chiefs' towers,
Oh.
as in
Okay.
like go and
Yeah.
take their players, just like sign them,
pull a
steal. Go get
pull
Creed Humphrey. Go
pull a
get like
pull a Celtic pride and just kidnap somebody.
yeah, like go steal Isaiah Pacheco. I mean, the problem is, as long as Pat Mahomes is there, you're probably still gonna lose.
Yeah, probably.
Quick interjection to let everybody know that Luka Doncic currently has 57 points with a minute 20 left in the third quarter. Um,
He's going for 82.
very most likely will have 70, considering it's only a 7 point lead for the Mavericks right now.
Ooh, yeah, he's going for that 81.
He has
It's for you,
33 minutes.
Kobe.
He currently has 33 minutes. The next highest guy on the team is Josh Green with 25 minutes. I sit a little bit in the start of the fourth quarter, or they're going to keep him in and let him go for 100 here. I don't know.
Oh, let's see what happens. I don't know about 100,
But
but
quick NBA pause. Now we're back.
yeah, we're back. So let's let's dive into the next topic, which is kind of a rewind here. Let's talk more about your Dallas Cowboys for just a couple minutes here. I don't want to dwell on it because I know you don't want to either. But do you think anybody needs to be moved here? I mean, you're keeping Mike McCarthy. We've already established that. That's happening. Do we
Yeah,
try?
that's fucking stupid.
Do we try to package Dak and Micah Parsons together for like a big grab? Do we try to move Dak for like, just switch him and Baker? Like, I mean, do that maybe. I mean, you could, get Tony Pollard in the mix with Dak and get, somebody like a Justin Fields maybe. I mean, are we thinking about getting rid of anybody at this point, or are we just kind of going to chalk this up again to we just played a really bad game one time and next year will be better?
We played a really bad game a lot of times, and next year has never been better. Um, I would like to say that there is an easy solution, as in switching the quarterback. Dak had an MVP season. Well, you can't get rid of him. He's an MVP finalist. He
See,
might win it. God damn it, he might win it, which I'd be pissed off if he does, honestly. Um, can't get rid of him. I do suggest getting rid of Tony Pollard, probably drafting a running back, just because shit, they're getting younger and better. Um, why not just take a shot in the draft? Throw a throw a pick at a QB late round. But I don't think I don't think you move anybody necessarily. I think you can kind of build up through the draft here. The only solution was to fire Mike McCarthy. The only solution after that is for someone to take a bullet to Jerry Jones' head, or poison his coffee or something. Like I'm trying to. I
he's
don't want
down
to get. I
bad,
don't want to
folks.
get.
Down
I don't
bad.
want to get. I don't want to get your stream like in trouble or anything. But I'm trying to. I'm trying to organize the second most famous assassination in Dallas. You know what I
Whoa!
mean?
Oh no. Um, no, I mean I get it. I mean I mean look, I think you're right. Either Jerry Jones needs to, have an aneurysm, at his elderly age, maybe fall down a flight of stairs and break everything on the way down, or you need Mike McCarthy to have a heart attack. I mean, big boy's got to eat. I mean it's that's your only solution right now. So, I mean, I think you're kind of SOL on that because A, we know evil never dies, and B, we know that McCarthy is here for the long term as of right now, and I don't think that he has any cardiovascular issues of my knowledge. Um, but
Yeah, he does. Yeah, he
oh,
had
does
like
he?
a he had some sort of issue,
Good.
or no, that was something else. It was his appendix. Never mind.
That doesn't count. Um, but yeah, I think it was a disaster. I don't think there's any other word to use, but it was a fucking disaster down there in Jerry World.
I want everyone to know I expect nothing better next year. I expect probably the exact same result.
Yeah, I mean that's it's. I mean you're probably. I mean I don't know about exact same, but I think that you're probably looking at not making the NFC Championship next year. That's for sure. Um, as we go on to this next topic and we talk about a little college football here, um, let's remind you that being here live on the Twitch here. This episode is brought to you by Budweiser Light, your official drink partner of St0ner Sports Radio. Whenever you're in the Bear Cave and you want to grab a cold one, make sure you're grabbing a Budweiser Light year, and have a good one, right? That's what we always say. And Alabama's having a good one, right? They hire Kyle DeBoer from Washington. Um, if that is his name, Kyle, or is it Kalen? Is it what's the first name?
Doesn't matter.
Doesn't matter. DeBoer's the head coach of
It's
Alabama.
Alabama. He's Bama. I
He's
don't
a
give pissed about nothing but the Tide. It's
he.
Bama's new
I
coach.
don't give pissed about nothing but the Tide. Blitz, Bama, blitz.
Let's
But
Bama Blitz.
I mean, good hire, I guess. I mean, I kind of came out of left field. We had our own kind of thoughts on this early on, but I mean, good move for him.
Probably good move for him. Probably the best move Bama could have made
Really?
with the coaches out there. Probably like with the people that were saying no. I'm assuming it wasn't their first choice.
Yeah.
No way he was the first. Their first call was, "Hey Kirby, I
Ooh.
know that you I know that you want some rings, but you want." And he was like, "Hell no!" He hung
Click.
that shit up.
Yeah.
And then you see Norvell, you see Sark get some raises. You're like, all right, well they're staying. Lanning puts out his little video after everyone was certain that he was going to Alabama. Lanning puts out his little video that's like, "Fuck you, I ain't leaving." And then everyone is like, "Well, shit, who's the next best team?" And they're like, "Well, Harbaugh's going to the NFL," which he did. And today they promoted Sharon Moore.
Former OU offensive lineman.
Yeah, but then you look at Well, you look at the playoff teams, and you're like, well, let's see, Bama. All right, well, that's us. Our coach retired. Fuck, that's really bad. Michigan, he's gone to the NFL. All right, Texas, Sark. They would probably love to get him. Not happening. Texas has unlimited money, so not him. Washington. Fuck, do they really deserve to be in this playoff? No, probably not. But they're the safest option to avoid a media lash out. I thought they were going to get Dabo. I don't know. Not a good hire. I don't think it's a good hire. I don't see him being able to win a championship in the SEC. I have Bama going like 7 wins.
Oh, that's definitely not as good as they were doing. I'll give you that for sure. I don't know how much of a step back this is for Alabama. I don't think it's a huge step back. I think it might be a little one. I don't think it's Brent Venables bad. I think they're still probably going to win 10 games. I can't see them not winning 10 games. There's too much talent there, and I don't think he's an idiot. I think it was a pretty good hire.
Is there a lot of talent there?
Yeah, I think so.
The talent that's left has kind of left Bama to be more of like talent comparison to more along the lines of someone like Tennessee. I don't think Bama is going to be in the SEC championship next year.
I mean that's kind of tough to say.
Like tell me this. Think about the teams that Bama beat this year that they're not going to be able to beat next year, right? Specifically in the SEC.
I mean, who is that? Is that supposed to be Tennessee? Because I think Tennessee's still going to be mid. I think their young quarterback is good, but I think they're going to be mid. I know they're going to have to play OU.
Let's go through Alabama's schedule in 2023, right?
Okay.
So you look at Alabama's schedule starting here. There it is. Texas, right? They lost to Texas. That's not happening.
Yeah. Well,
Ole Miss. They beat Ole Miss by 14 points, 24 to 10.
That's a W. Ole Miss isn't getting better.
That's not that. Ole Miss is getting better. Ole Miss has 10 wins this last season. They're beating Bama next year.
They're not beating them. It's not going to happen.
They're beating Bama next year. They are.
They choke
straight up. They finished number 9, and they finished number 9.
They're not.
Mississippi
they were never
State,
that good.
Thought that as a W. They are that good.
They are not that
You look
good.
at Texas, they're good enough to beat fucking Pac-12 coaching. Then you look at Alabama and Texas A&M. Alabama beat Texas A&M by 6 points with Nick Saban. DeBoer is not making up for that.
Yeah, he is.
DeBoer is not making up for that.
Texas A&M is going backwards.
Alabama beat Arkansas
Texas A&M is
by
going
3
backwards.
points.
They're going.
Alabama beat Arkansas by 3 points. Are you telling me Arkansas is going backwards too?
Yes, because KJ Jefferson's gone. Right.
That's not a dub next year. That's not a dub next year. They beat Tennessee by 14 points. That's probably not a dub next year. They beat LSU. They beat LSU by 14 points. Maybe that's probably an L.
No.
Maybe a dub, but probably an L.
Who's their quarterback?
It doesn't matter.
I guess not.
Auburn. A 3-point win against Auburn. Maybe. Shit.
Well, how are they getting better?
They were a Hail Mary away from beating Bama. Fuck.
That's a Hail Mary too short.
Oh, come on. And then, obviously, they beat Georgia by 3 points, and there's no shot that happens next year.
I'll give you Georgia. I'll give you LSU. I'm not giving. There's no way Ole Miss beats them.
If I'm right about any of those other 4 games, that's 9 wins. If I'm right about any of those 4, if I'm right about Ole Miss, A&M, Arkansas, or Tennessee, they also lose to LSU and Georgia like we think they would, or if they lose to Auburn like I think they might, that's like five opportunities for them to go 9 wins that are very legitimately probably going to happen. They might go 6-6.
They're not going to go 6-6. Because they're going to beat Arkansas and they're going to beat Auburn. So just take those off the table. Arkansas is terrible and Auburn's not getting better. Ole Miss, fine. I can give you Ole Miss, but they're at least winning 10 games. Like I just don't think it's a 10-win season. I just don't see how.
All
How
right, let's count the wins. Western Kentucky,
win,
South Florida,
win,
Wisconsin.
win. Well, let's just look at this year's schedule. Where's this year's schedule? Pull that
That's
up.
what I'm looking at right
Oh,
now.
okay, okay, okay.
Wisconsin is a
Okay.
win.
Yeah.
Georgia's not a win.
No. L.
Vandy,
Win.
South Carolina.
Win. They don't have anybody. Who they got?
I'll do it. I'll give it to you. I'll give it
Yeah.
to you. Tennessee.
I mean, right now I'm saying win because the
I'm
young
not.
quarterback hasn't proven himself. One bowl game does not make a man.
I'm going to say no. Missouri. I'm
Dub,
going to say
dub,
no.
dub.
I'm going to say no.
I
think
wow.
Missouri's beating Bama this year, especially with the
Wow.
coaching change. Yeah, Missouri beats Bama.
All right. Well,
LSU.
I say L for now. I don't know who the quarterback is though.
Mercer. That's a dub. OU.
Dub.
I'm going to say no.
I know.
Auburn.
Dub. That's 10.
I'll give it Auburn. I have 7.
I know you do. Who else? So you got Auburn, and is that it?
That's it.
That's gonna be interesting. I just don't think 6-6. I mean, I think that's a little extreme. I think 6-6 is kind of
realistically. Extreme. I'm gonna go 8-4.
8-4. I mean, I guess. I mean, it's possible. I don't.
What's the bet on that?
I don't know. That's a good question. I have no idea what the future would be for an 8-win season. I'm sure it's got to be in the minus, right? You're not going to be in the pluses with that. Maybe if you go exact wins, you would be, but I don't know about.
Alabama still has the 4th highest odds.
I'm telling you, man. I am.
Oh, this was January 5th. That was before
okay.
Saban retired. I can't find the line. I don't think there's a line for that.
Let's see if I can. Oh yeah, right now I don't. Well, for the championship there is, but nothing else.
Yeah, lines for the championship and nothing
else. That's it. So yeah, so they'll come out later. We'll see. I mean, I'm sure. I think it'll be. I don't think you'll be making a bunch of money with that, to be honest. But you know, I mean, we'll see what happens and once I learn more about LSU and Tennessee and kind of how they look, I think that's gonna really kind of dictate the level. But yeah, that's. I mean, I think it's still a decent hire. I don't think it's terrible. Let's talk about Jim Harbaugh going to the Chargers. A lot of people think the Chargers are going to win a Super Bowl in the next 3 years now. Some people are saying next 5. I'm saying it's just never going to happen because I just know how Justin Herbert is. I know how the Chargers are as an organization. They can't get out of their own way kind of shit. And I think that that's going to continue, unfortunately. I think they're going to be decent. I just don't think that you're going to see a vast improvement next season. Now, health has a lot to do with that. When it comes to this team, but I just the Chargers, man, they kill me, man, because I mean that's like kind of a secondary team, kind of, just because I'm such a Herbert guy. But I just don't know, man. I just think that they're kind of stuck in this area where I don't think that hiring Jim Harbaugh gets you out of there. Now he's thinking about hiring Brandon Staley back as a DC, which I don't think I would mind if I'm a LA Chargers fan, because as long as he's not above everything, I think that you're kind of fine with Staley being that. If he can focus on the defense, I think they're fine with that, because that's what got him that job in the first place. So I think that if he can stay in that lane and be okay with it, I think that's a good start. Harbaugh's bringing his strength and conditioning guy from Michigan. He's bringing Mentor, the other defensive guy, defensive coordinator, play caller, bringing him as well. So you know, maybe Brandon Staley isn't going to be there, but I think he should be in some capacity. I think, because I think he's that good. But you know, I think overall they're just not. They're just kind of on a treadmill. I don't think they're really going to go anywhere of substantial. They might make the playoffs, but I don't think they make it past the wild card.
Sorry, Luka has 65 with 10 minutes left.
Dude, he's going for 81.
Oh my god. I have got to put it on.
What about Booker? Booker had 20 and a quarter. Where's he at?
He's at 50 something.
Okay.
People are going crazy right now. I got 2 string knees up right now.
You're cooking.
Because the Thunder are playing.
Yeah.
They're beating the Pelicans by 7.
Good
Oh,
job.
Luka. Oh, Luka.
Is he just continuing to go bananas?
Yeah.
Good for him. So yeah, what I mean, what are your thoughts? You think wild card's probably the top where they could probably go as far as next year and probably the year after that?
I can see them getting all the way to the AFC
Oh,
Championship. I
really?
can see them getting
Okay.
to the Super Bowl. I don't think they will ever
Oh,
win it.
wow. I mean, that's more confidence
I
than
think
me.
that they
That's more
have.
confidence
I
than
think they
me.
have they have all of the tools to do it. I just
Well,
don't
yeah,
think. I
but
just don't think
so do the
it's gonna happen.
fucking Bills. Like, so
So do the
does Miami.
Cowboys.
Yeah.
Like,
I mean, that's what I'm saying. Like, I mean,
like a lot of teams have those things. That's why I say I think they could. I don't think they
yeah,
will win the big game because
yeah.
they're going to have to play probably like the 49ers, right? Like they're not beating the 49ers.
Aren't they in the same division as them? Am I wrong?
No, conference, NFC, AFC.
Okay. Yeah, I think that's kind of, I mean, and good for Jim Harbaugh getting out before those violations come down. I mean, good for him, like they all do. Um, and Go ahead and let's have you have the floor here for our Thunder update here. Thunder update here coming from Zach. He'll let us just kind of give us a vision of now the new #1 team in the Western Conference. How we feeling right now?
Oh, great. The team's on pace for 56, 57 wins, probably going to finish #1 and #2 in the conference, lock up home court through the playoffs, which is insane. I mean, we're going to have to make our way to a couple games when they lock up. They're going to get a home playoff
Oh yeah, for sure.
series.
I mean, as
I
far
mean,
as
like,
right now, yeah, barring injury, yeah.
so we got to get some tickets to that, first of all. But they're 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 not pretenders. This is a contending team. I think they're not fraudulent. They're not peaking early. I don't think any of that. They're showing consistent wins throughout the season. Their losses aren't coming in bunches. Their losses are coming, very, discreetly. Maybe
Sparse.
2 games in a row. I think we lost 2 games like once, in a row this
Hmm.
season. But this team's poised to finish with less than 30 losses. I mean, that's something that you have to be really, really proud of. I don't see any reason why they can't go to the NBA finals. They've beaten
Hmm.
everybody I think that they might need to. I mean, they're currently up 2-1 on the Nuggets on the season. They blew them out the last time we played them. I mean, they beat the Celtics. They're beating everybody they're supposed to beat. It's
Yeah.
unless we just play like garbage, we hardly lose.
Yeah.
Um, Chet's made the big difference defensively. This is one of the most efficient teams in the NBA offensively. I mean, everything's looking really, really good. I mean, SGA's probably should win the MVP, even though it's going to go to Joel Embiid. SGA is like shooting like 60%, like 60, 60, 35, 90 something. I mean, insane shooting splits, 32 points a game. I mean, I don't know. I don't know what else to say. The Thunder are exceeding every single expectation we had of them.
Yeah, no, they're far and away exceeding expectations for sure. Does the 28th rank rebounding and 28th rank second chance points opportunity concern you? Because for me, that's kind of concerning. I think
It is a
rebound.
little concerning, and that's probably what most Thunder fans try to discuss is the fact that we're terrible at rebounding. I think that's because of the fact that we don't have a true 5 down
Yeah,
there really coming down with the boards, and I think those are rare in today's NBA. You think about a true 5 that's going up there and really
I
crashing the
mean,
boards. Andre
Yeah,
Drummond,
Giannis,
right?
uh,
Yeah, Giannis, Andre Drummond, uh,
Valanciunas,
Zubac,
yeah,
um, Embiid, and
Vujicic.
Chet's,
No, not
yeah,
Vujicic. Jared
Vucevic,
Allen. Jared Allen's better. Jared Allen.
yeah,
Yeah.
Vucevic, but Chet's not really that guy. Like Chet's
No,
not chasing boards like that.
no.
He's kind of hanging on the perimeter a lot of the time on the offensive side. So we're not getting a lot of second chance points. And on the defensive side, he's usually not even guarding the 5. So he's not going to be able to stop them from getting boards. And we don't really have anyone that's able to do that, I think. If we are to make any sort of moves before the trade deadline, I think it would need to be someone that's able to get rebounds. I'm looking at someone like Jared Allen, who probably wouldn't be able to get, but I think that'd be like the kind of move that I would make right now if I were Sam Presti. The rebounding is concerning though, and you can see it in the games, the amount of possessions that the other teams are getting. But the fact that the Thunder are so efficient, we're kind of making up for that.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think you're definitely making up for that. As far as the rebounding goes, do you think that they get anybody here in the next 14 days? Trade wise, I don't really think I see them making any moves. A lot of people are throwing the Pelicans, Valanciunas out there as someone to go after, but I think that New Orleans would want too much for that. Um,
I agree with that. If we could get him, I would like him because he's one of those rebounding guys.
yeah.
But probably wouldn't be able to get him. And honestly, that's not the guy on the Pelicans I really want. The guy I really want on the Pelicans is Herb Jones.
Mm. Yeah, a lot of people like Herb Jones. He's pretty good. I'm not gonna lie about that. He's
He's the
he's
only guy in the league that can stop SGA. That's insane. He would improve. He would come off our bench and improve our defense from the second unit so much that I think we would have an average under 100 points allowed. But that is my Thunder spiel.
well, no, that's I think that
And I
pretty
got a new
much.
Russ jersey.
Yeah, there you go. There you go. Show that bad boy off, baby.
Yeah,
Um, but yeah,
it's big as fuck. I got an extra large so I can wear hoodies under it. It's big as fuck.
there you go. Big time win there. So let's get into it. Sunday, conference championship games for the NFL, AFC, NFC, where it's coming down to who's making the Super Bowl. Let's go ahead and start with the
Wait,
Lions and
wait.
what's happening.
Are we making? Should we do a little sits, little bets, include some players on there? What do you think? Little player
Um,
props,
I
or do we just?
I
What are
think
we
we
doing
could.
here?
I think we could do that next week for the Super Bowl. I think that would be a good one because then I can bet on how long I think the national anthem's going to be, under or
Oh,
over
we
two and
gotta
a
put.
half
Yeah,
minutes.
we gotta do those props. Let's do those
Yeah.
props.
So let's plan on doing that next week, and we'll just go with I think we'll just go with the spreads and the over unders. Maybe I think that'll probably be easy, um, for us to get as far as that goes. Back over here to game. All right. So 49ers Lions. 49ers 7-point favorites here at home. Over under at 51 and a half. Well, I mean, what are your thoughts on this? Because in my opinion, I think the Lions are kind of heading into this area where I don't think Jared Goff's going to play very well. I think that it's going to be kind of a run heavy thing. But the thing is with the Lions, they give a lot of big pass plays up through the air. I don't know if Brock Purdy's going to show up this week because he's kind of been down yardage wise. I think his line is 265 yards passing, um, which he has not hit in the last 3 or 4 games, I believe. So I mean, it's kind of one of those interesting scenarios where it kind of depends on how good the Lions defense plays. But I think this spread is pretty accurate. I like the 49ers to advance. Your thoughts?
Like the Niners to advance. The realistic thing that's going to happen is they're going to win. But how awesome would it be if the Lions won? Right? I mean, how awesome would it be if the Lions won and went to the Super Bowl? Um, they probably won't. I think the only way that they can get to the Super Bowl is by Jameer Gibbs. Um, he's going to have to rush for like 200 yards against that defense because I don't think the receivers are going to get very open. I don't think Jared Goff's going to be able to play very well. And the Lions defense is going to have to go insane. I mean, Aiden Hutchinson is going to have to sack Brock Purdy like 3 times for that, for them to win. I mean, it's so stacked against Detroit right now. You have to go 49ers. And I'll go, I'm picking them too. But, geez, I would love for the Lions to win this one. I really want the Lions to win. I want a Lions-Ravens Super Bowl. Everybody wants it.
No, I don't. I don't think you're alone in that. I think a lot of people want that. Um, I mean, it's yeah. I think it's the 49ers to lose. I think they're in a good position here. I mean, they have one of the most stacked offensive rosters, and the defense has been playing good enough. Goff's got a couple of good receivers. I mean, Laporta's been good. Amon-Ra St. Brown's been great. But I just really need a third guy to kind of be more consistent. And I think that, Jameson Williams, as good as people thought he was going to be coming out of Alabama, I don't really think he's ever recovered well enough from that ACL to really give them that speed guy like he was supposed to be coming out of college. I think that really, really hurts in the long run. But yeah, I like the 49ers to cover here. I think I mean, over under wise, 51.5.
I don't think that hits. I think
I,
I'd
I
take the
think
under.
yeah, I think I take the under too. I think this is going to be a low scoring affair,
I think
unfortunately.
we're going to see like the 24-21, maybe a 24-18.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I think you're, 28, 21, 30 to 21, something like that, maybe with two field goals in there. I don't know. I mean, it's gonna be 69 and sunny. I mean, I think that also is fantastic. As far as football weather is concerned, so shouldn't be a factor. Um, yeah, I mean, I think the 49ers advance to the Super Bowl, folks. Um, which gives us to the next game, which is the Ravens and the Chiefs. This one is in Baltimore. It's going to be 49 degrees and cloudy as of right now. Baltimore is only a 4-point favorite. The total here is 44 and a half. So it's the lower scoring of the two, which, I mean, I don't disagree with either. The way that the Chiefs offense has been operating and the way their defense has, they should be able to hold the Ravens to a decent total. I think the kind of the line there is accurate as far as the total is concerned. Go ahead and give me your thoughts on this game up in M&T Bank Stadium.
I mean, I'm taking the Ravens. Um, I think that their defense is going to hold up and hold the lagging Kansas City offense to probably 14 or under points. I'm not kidding when I say that. I think Kansas City is going to score like 10 points. I think it's going to be tough for them to go up there and to be more and try to pull out a win with the way that playoff atmosphere has been. I think Lamar Jackson's playing out of his mind, and it's going to not go crazy because the Kansas City defense is good, but I could see them putting up 30, 31, 35 points against this Kansas City defense. And I just don't think that the offense is going to be able to keep up, especially with how the linebackers are going to be able to cover the middle. They're not going to let Travis Kelce get a lot of things. We got Patrick Queen and Roquan Smith there. I mean, I don't see Travis Kelce having the impact that he had in the last playoff game. So I don't know who's going to really step up for Kansas City if it's not Rashee Rice. Um, you're kind of fucked if you're Kansas City. You don't really have any weapons, and that's the price you pay when you got to pay your quarterback $50 million a year for the next 10 years, and then you got the supposed greatest tight end of all time. Greatest marketing you ever have with Taylor Swift's boyfriend. I'm taking the Ravens. I also, if there was a prop bet on NFL rigging the game for the Chiefs, I would take that too. Um, because I think the NFL season is going to end with some sort of marriage proposal with Taylor Swift somehow. I'm not trying to hate. I'm not trying to hate on Taylor Swift. No hate, but I do think the NFL is going to rig it so that they can get some sort of thing out of that. Just why wouldn't you?
Yeah, no, I'm kind of on the other side of this. I'm not gonna lie. I like the Chiefs here for one of the reasons you mentioned. I think that the NFL can't help themselves. And I think that they really kind of need it to really draw in, the kind of numbers that would exceed what they probably normally would have for a Super Bowl. Um, you know, I I mean it's setting up for the Ravens to choke this one away. And the reason I say this is
Yeah.
is because, I mean, Lamar's been playing okay, but you look at the last game and it wasn't, the Texans are okay, but they're not, like you said, they weren't ready. And I think the experience really carried them. They're going against a team that has some of the most postseason experience of any team in the NFL in the last 10 years. I think that really kind of matters. And, with Lamar, the criticism's always been, are the lights ever going to be too bright for Lamar? And he's never been able to do it in the playoffs. That's always, the criticism. And I think that right now, is one of those moments where it makes or breaks that narrative. And I think that the narrative continues. I don't think this is going to be a blowout. I don't think the Chiefs are going to run away with this. I think this is going to be one of those games where I think both the offenses are going to struggle for whatever reason. They shouldn't, but I think the Chiefs' defense, the level they're playing, is going to be a problem. I think if Lamar doesn't use his legs exceedingly well, I think that it could continue to be one of the more dominant defenses we've seen in the playoffs as far as the Chiefs are concerned. And the Ravens, as good as their numbers have been, please tell me who they've played. You think that the Steelers' offense is really a challenge for this Ravens defense? You think the Texans and their inexperience and in their offensive line that they knew couldn't handle the defensive prowess that the defensive line for the Ravens has? I mean, I just don't see where the challenge has been thus far in the postseason for their defense. This is going to be the challenge, and I think that they may come in here a little too lax, and I don't think they want to. I think they need to have their ears perked up, be very alert, and notice that even though the Chiefs have been struggling offensively, that doesn't matter right now. In this particular time, I think that right now it's all about getting to the Super Bowl, and that's what Patrick Mahomes and his team has done time and time again.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I could definitely see that happening. Patrick Mahomes has, if it comes down to the last couple drives, I would put all my entire life savings on Patrick Mahomes getting a last second game winning drive. But um, personally, I think it's the Ravens' year. I just think that their roster is so good. I think that they have the weapons, they have the defense, and I think Lamar's going to show up this time.
Yeah, I mean, it's what I want, right? Like as an
Yeah,
NFL fan, well, I say NFL fan. I'm kind of a casual, to be honest, but I mean, I think that you know, for my viewing pleasure for the big game, I think I would much rather see, to be honest, Ravens Lions. I would really like to see Ravens Lions, as far as what I want to see, because I think it'd be interesting. But I think we're gonna get probably Ravens 49ers here, and I think it should be a good matchup. I just think the disparity between Brock Purdy and Lamar Jackson, not only with who they are as a quarterback, but just their play styles is opposite as they can be. I think the Ravens, if they win this game, in my opinion, they're Super Bowl champions because I don't think that Brock Purdy is ready to go against and try to, match drive for drive with an offense that has the firepower that the Ravens have, this year at least.
whoever wins the AFC is the Super Bowl champion,
Yeah,
in my opinion.
I agree.
And I don't know if you're a follower of the. Oh, I think Lucha just hit 70.
Wow.
Yeah, Lucha just hit 70. Nice. I don't know if you're a follower of the Super Bowl logo color theory, but if you've looked
Oh,
in the past few
I've seen
years,
it. I've seen it. Yeah.
next year is apparently Chargers Cowboys. So there's that Jim Harbaugh story.
Yeah. I mean, it could. I mean, it could be Rams. You know, just as easily.
No, it's like the electric. It's like
Oh,
the
is it
electric
powder
blue.
blue? I saw the dark
Yeah,
blue in there. And that could be Lions as well. But I mean, let's for your
it's the
sake, let's
Cowboys
say it's the
color.
Cowboys. Yeah, I mean it's been pretty good. I think that theory has done. I don't know how much weight it has, but it's definitely interesting and intriguing to look at. Um, that's for sure. Um, boy, I mean what a season it's been. Any other final thoughts before we get out of here? Pretty good episode. We got some stuff going on. Want to give us another Thunder update here? I think they're out of halftime right now, right?
Let's see. Let's see what's going on here. I can tell you that it looks like the Mavs are going to win. 137, 131, 6 point. Actually, he's only up 6 points with 2 minutes left.
130,
Luka has
133 to
70.
137 now.
Yeah, I'm a little behind you, I guess.
Yeah, and you're just a little bit.
OKC is up by
Indiana and
that?
Phoenix
13
tied it.
points.
Oh my gosh, Indiana just took the lead with 3.4 seconds to go. Oh my
Oh
gosh.
shit. Suns choked. Suns choked. Anyway, the Thunder are up by 11 points right now.
All right, that's good. Thunder are probably cruising. As far as
Yeah,
I'm
it's cruise control.
as far as I'm concerned, no other words from me. So for episode 56, well, Zach, enjoy your weekend. Enjoy your championship Saturday. Or sorry, Sunday. Wow, no game Saturday. No game Saturday. No NFL game Saturday this week. Sad news. Just Sunday. Doubleheader Sunday. Enjoy it and keep stick on the ice.